Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade. And actually, we are on a video player. We can pause the video. So, I thought this would be kind of an interesting thing to do. I don't want the channel to be just about just being always really good videos. I want to show some of the bad games that we have as well. And this one is truly a terrible game. So I thought we would dive in, we can pause it because we're on the video player, have a little bit of a talk about it, see where things went so badly wrong, where did I make so many poor decisions, and hopefully we can kind of all learn something from it, or at least hopefully I can. And I kind of also want to demonstrate that I don't just have good games, I have a lot of really terrible games as well. Although this one was kind of pretty exceptional. Anyway, the game happened about a week ago. So it'll be a little bit of a sort of a trip back down the memory for me as well as to what happens. Anyway, we kick things off just on the artillery. Actually, for me, using artillery, two hits like that is actually not too bad by my going. I'm starting off with the Imperial Javelineers. I quite like them on defensive points like this, like on Sun City. Tends to be quite a hard one to hold the A point off. Nice shot, Mr. Ballista. So it tends to be one where you sort of fight on A a little bit. I try and get a few throws in, and then I'm trying to pull myself out with my unit, rather than getting bogged down into a fight that you're just going to get overwhelmed on. Looks like we've got some friendly cavalry has gone out the gate at the B, and there's a little bit of a fight going on around there as well. And I just decided to grab a few cheeky little kills on some of the Metailitori. I am still with the new weapon class at the moment, so I am using the scimitar, so I am quite fragile. Looks like our dual blade has got down on the floor and getting some free kills in on the units pushing the siege towers, but I don't think it's going to really stop them. I push a ladder down, actually just for a challenge, to be honest, I think it was. It's not actually really all that helpful, and then I'm going to pull my javelins up onto the A point. Now, I guess the first thing you'll notice is there's not that much here. We've got some stalwarts, we've got a few Huskarls, and then my javelins. That's really about all we've got currently on the A point. So we're going to have to see, how long are we going to be able to hold, and how effectively can we get our javelin throws in, and that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. I'm looking for my opportunities. I'm looking at the right tower. Is anything sort of moving into position? Is there anything I can get basically a free throw onto? That's kind of what my mind is thinking. I start to move down to the steps because I'm getting a little bit nervous, and then I pull back down because I'm just deciding that there's nothing really on A point. They're just going to rush the A point, and I'm just going to be stuck in this position where I can't really do anything, because they're not really a melee unit, these Imperial Javelineers. So I pull back to the supply point, come back up the stairs, got some friendly stalwarts here, and this is where things start to go wrong really rather quickly. So I'm trying to look to see if something's going to come for this siege tower. Initially, it looks like these fortibraccios might come, so I'm thinking, okay, that's kind of interesting. I'll just keep my unit back down the bottom of the stairs, let's see what goes on, get a couple of enemy heroes. Now, I think at this point, I should have got involved in the fight, right? I could help that short sword quite significantly. Instead, I'm just stood back in this unit of stalwarts, trying to see how this game's going to pan out. Should have got involved much quicker. We then get a third enemy hero, a fourth and fifth enemy hero, right? So we're now really outnumbered on heroes, but the friendly stalwart player calls his unit to him, that short sword. So the friendly stalwarts are now going in. And I've stopped paying attention. We've got enemy stalwarts now coming up the siege tower. No longer the forties, but enemy stalwarts. And that is a very different unit to deal with javelins. So now I'm thinking, oh Christ, I don't want to be here. I need to get my unit through. I try and grab this guy. I try and go for the javelin throw, but it doesn't work. He gets out of position in time. So I'm trying to get my unit out of the fight now, because we're starting to get sandwiched from both directions, as you're going to see in a minute. So we've got enemy trebs coming in. But I'm stuck because I've got enemy units down on the tower there, and we've got loads of enemy stuff coming in here. So look, we've now got the Roman gladiators, the stalwarts, the fortibraccios, plus multiple enemy heroes. I'm never going to do anything in here. Go for a quick cheeky throw, don't even do anything, and now I'm thinking, Christ, how are we going to get out of this? I'm just trying to pull the unit through. We then get enemy palace guards coming down, but because they're already committing to the fight, I'm hoping that I can get past and then get the unit back down to the supply point. Use control-click to get them out of the fight. But I don't. I get stuck. He manages to lock me in place. And now I can't get out. I'm slowed down. The unit is slowed down. And then we get enemy berserkers turn up as well. So I've basically now lost the unit and I've achieved nothing. Try and go for a final hero kill. It goes a little bit funny there. Not quite sure what happened. Congratulations, Conqueror's Blade servers. But the unit is essentially dead. I have done absolutely nothing. is all I've done is move around on the wall. I didn't even get any kills with the javelin throw, and now throw my unit away. It's just that string of poor decisions, and I don't think it's even particularly down to unit control problems, it's just placement. I should probably have stayed on the A point. I think I could have done more trying to hold there, instead of trying to move to that side section of the wall to try and get some free kills, which was really not very helpful for the team and didn't even help me in the end. So we've lost A, and we've really done nothing. Okay, so what do I want to do now? I was a little bit put out because I'd lost the unit, and I'm thinking, well, we've only lost the A point, we've still got quite a long way to go in this fight. Do I go and grab another unit now and get stuck into a B point fight, which is traditionally quite a hard place to hold? Or do we just sort of mess around a little bit as a hero? So coming up onto B, we get some stuff approaching. We've got a little bit of friendly stuff here, but not all that much. The Spear Sergeants I'm not too worried about, but the Roman Gladiators are probably going to be a problem. And we have also got that enemy hero behind us. At this point, I'm kind of thinking, as they move on to point, that enemy hero is probably going to climb up. And is thinking that he is probably my best opportunity for being able to just pin him down and get him killed in when he's sort of out of position, because he's going to think that I've stopped looking at him. And you can see why I keep checking back to see what he's doing. But unfortunately, the enemy just completely overwhelmed us on point. And by the time I turn back round again, he's already got half his paladins up the wall. So yeah, that didn't really pan out for me at all. So again, we've basically now lost the B point, and I didn't even really put up a fight. And so use an escape skill. Good job, Evo. So you can see this is why this is starting to turn into a pretty horrific game. So we've still got our Berserkers, we've still got our Stalwarts to draw from. What are we going to do now? So obviously got to go and get a unit, so I head myself back over to the supply point. Little horse not going quite quick enough as I'd like. I ummed-and-ahed a little bit, but I decided to go Berserkers because I thought Stalwarts are likely to be most useful on the final base point, and I was kind of hoping that I could fight on the fringes of the C point and maybe pick up a few kills there, and at least start to contribute something to this team. So we come back round. The enemy is basically already pushing hard on the C point. I'm trying to call the unit to me, trying to decide where I want to go. But if a fight breaks out here, right, okay, I think I do the right thing here. I have to take this fight. I don't really want to fight Berserkers with my Berserkers. It's, you know, traditionally it's only going to be sort of a drawing fight here, isn't it? So it's never really going to go very well for me. We do get a few kills, and we do ultimately end up killing sort of the bulk of the unit of Berserkers, but it basically costs me my unit of Berserkers. I think that was almost just unlucky. If I hadn't have taken the fight, those Berserkers, well, they did end up killing the bulk of the archers, but they would have killed even more. And so I think I kind of had to take that fight. But yeah, I don't think there was necessarily a lot I could have done in that. It's a shame it just didn't go a little bit better. If I'd been on the poleaxe, I think I could have done more. I just slightly annoy the paladins. I do manage to get caught in my escape skill. I thought I was going to be done for a second there. But we do manage to just about get ourselves out of the problem. So the enemy's still pushing C point pretty hard, and I'm not going to go back for another unit at the moment. We've only got the Stalwarts left, and even though we've only got 12 unit kills, I decided I want to save that unit for the final point, because C point, let's face it, we're not going to be holding here, particularly when you go around the corner and see kind of the ongoing chaos. It certainly doesn't look good, and so I just decided to fight on a little bit as a hero, at least for now. Throwing some of my knives at people, just getting stuck into a little bit of hand-to-hand. This is kind of where I still wish I'd got my poleaxe, because I think I'd be able to do a lot more as a hero if I had that. I'm just too fragile for these big fights. Get locked down from the other side of the map anyway, and bang, I'm dead. Yeah, so we really haven't done much. 14 unit kills, no hero kills, and we're now coming on to the final base point, and I've lost 2 purple units. Yeah, this is really not going very well. We've still got our Stalwarts to try and pull this back though, but the enemy is going to be pushing hard. You can see they're already getting capped out on the final point, because they've basically just rolled us on the C point, and because I've not really contributed anything to the defence, it feels like they've probably just overwhelmed us on that C point. And once you get that roll going, get that momentum going, it makes such a huge difference. Grab the Stalwarts. I'm trying to race them down. I just want to try and get there as quickly as possible. I'm thinking, someone get on point. But then they even managed to come around the corners and get an intercept here. And I know at this point it's really just sort of game over. I sort of try and brace into some of the cavalry, but even that doesn't particularly go very well. And so we end up doing basically nothing for the entire game. We ended up managing to get ourselves, 14 unit kills, a couple of deaths, and just a couple of assists. So, yeah, sometimes I also have truly awful games, and this was certainly one of those cases. A lot of it was just unit placement, I think, more than specifically unit control. I think if you can get the right unit in the right place at the right time, then you don't have to be a master of this game to actually do quite well. And I think that's why I really failed here. The javelins at the start should have just defended the A point properly. That was the right place to be. That's where the team needed me. I wasn't there, so that was definitely my fault. Pulling back then onto B, should have probably just gone straight back and got the berserkers out from the start, because it just meant that though the Romans, gladiators who were on the B point, who were perhaps interested in making a stand, the rest of the team, myself included, were just there as heroes, and that isn't really all that helpful, particularly when you're a light armor hero like this scimitar, which doesn't really contribute a lot to actually sort of physically holding a point. Then I think we fall back to the C point. I think I probably was right to take that berserker fight. I kind of had to try and defend that unit, to try and help the team a little bit. It was a little bit unlucky. You can see we got the 6 berserker kills. So we essentially wiped the berserker unit for our berserker unit. It was just a 1-to-1 trade. I feel that was almost just a bit of unluckiness of timing. Then coming back, that wipe on the C point meant though that the enemy just carried that momentum onto final base, and we just never got a defense set up. So all my worrying about not getting my stalwarts out, keeping a unit for the final point, didn't help me in the slightest, because ultimately I wasn't there to defend the final point. I still had the unit, so essentially those stalwarts were a complete waste because I didn't even get to put them into the fight at all. So, I don't know. Anyway, that was certainly a pretty bad battle, so hopefully at least it highlights that I also have some fairly shocking games, not just put out the good clips that we get, because I kind of want to highlight all sides of gameplay on this channel. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed it. Any constructive criticism, do throw it in the comments down below. More than happy to hear your thoughts on, this fairly shocking game. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.